Hey, welcome into Wednesday, everybody. Today we got some pretty significant energies at play where I feel the veil of illusion begins to dissolve and that divine truth really starts to surface. We've got two ingresses. We've got the sun ingressing into Scorpio, and we have Neptune ingressing back into Pisces retrograde at that anaretic degree. And so this is actually a pretty pivotal shift for the Twin Flame Collective, and I'm going to break it down here for you today. If you're new to the channel, my name is Laura. I'm a Twin Flame coach, guide, astrologer, and channeler, and we will talk about the astrology first, and then we will go deeper in with some oracle and some tarot messages. As we see here, we've got Neptune retrograde in the 6th house. We have the sun sitting at 29-degree Libra in the 1st house at the time of Neptune's ingress back into Pisces. It's joining Saturn in Pisces. So we've got this Pisces stellium sitting in the 6th house. We've got also this Scorpio stellium of energy in the 2nd house. And we see that Libra stellium sitting in the 1st house. And so this is a pretty significant chapter, I want to say, for the Twin Flame Collective. And so we're closing out the chapter of illusion and of projection as Neptune re-enters into Pisces. And so there is going to be this sense that this spiritual union is coming, is what I'm feeling. But there's going to be confusion. There's going to be fantasy there, and there could possibly be escapism in the energies. But ultimately, we have to surrender this idealized version of what this union is. And then we have to come into that spiritual truth. And so we're not going to chase the mirage of union anymore. And I feel that's what these shifts are asking us to do. Stop chasing. We are here to live in the embodiment of the vibration of union from within our emotional body. Okay, and so Neptune backing into Pisces is going to bring a lot of compassionate energy forward. It is the energy, I want to say, of transcendence, because Neptune is all about spirituality. And so when it enters back into that 29th analytical critical degree, it's going to amplify the themes of completion, right? Because 29 is endings. So there's going to be revelations. There's going to be dissolution of the karmic soul contracts. So basically everything false has to fade away. We also have this beautiful grand water trine in the energies at play. And so this is asking us to step into emotional mastery, and it is the soul merger energy at play. And so Neptune and Pisces is going to dissolve the illusions. We have Lilith and Scorpio as part of this grand water trine, which is the raw truth of maybe where we've lacked that emotional sovereignty. It is the unfiltered essence of the divine feminine, okay? And so I feel the feminine no longer is going to allow herself to be suppressed. And then we have Jupiter in Cancer completing this grand water trine. And this energy is going to be at play all throughout the rest of the month. And so Jupiter is going to expand this need for emotional safety in partnerships, that divine nurturing and the restoration of trust within this divine union. And so all of these energies are working together to what I feel is like opening up a portal of divine remembrance for the Twin Flame Collective. And so this is where we are called into emotional transparency and spiritual surrender, right? Because we also have the North Node sitting there in Pisces. And so all of this will lead first to the energetic union and then the physical union. And so this is where I feel the feminine reclaims her personal power, her emotional depth, without losing any boundaries within relationships. And the masculine collective, I feel, is awakening to their sacred responsibility. And they're finally feeling everything that they've denied and they've repressed. And so we're kind of merging truth, empathy, tenderness, mystery, devotion, all into this one alchemy of divine love. So we can make it real and grounded in the physical, okay? So with the sun entering Scorpio just the day after the Libra New Moon, we're kind of in what I want to call is this afterglow of energies, okay? And so we're going from the balanced energy of Libra into the depth of the Scorpionic energy, right? And so we're shifting from negotiation, right? Libra's all about negotiating and balancing the scales. And now we're shifting drastically into the energy of transformation, because Scorpio rules death, rebirth, and transformation. And so I feel the new moon yesterday asked the counterparts, asked the twins to really evaluate what is balanced, what is not balanced. Is there reciprocity? Is there equanimity? And now the Scorpio shift is kind of demanding authenticity and transparency, right? Because Scorpio does not do pretenses, does not do false pretenses. And so there's like this no more avoiding, no more pretending energy. And we're going deep into the light of consciousness. That's what Scorpio does. And so we have to kind of shine a light on all of these emotional and karmic shadows in order to heal all of these intimacy wounds between the counterparts, right? And especially connected to the betrayal patterns and that fear of vulnerability for the masculine, okay? And so we've got some pretty awesome energies because we are releasing attachment, right? The feminine is releasing that attachment to any outcome, and the divine masculine is being initiated, is what this feels like. It's a massive initiation into emotional truth, emotional accountability, and I want to say soul awakening. And so with this Scorpio stellium in the second house, we are rebuilding self-worth, right? The second house is connected to worth, our finances, this embodied union. And so everything we hold dear kind of sits in that second house. So we do see collectively the moon, Mars, Mercury, and Lilith and Scorpio all sitting there, this collective energy all sitting there in the second house, asking us to embody self-worth, self-value through this emotional depth. And so right now I feel the twins are being asked to release the illusion that union is ever going to be found outside of you, because it's not. It's going to be found inside the house, okay? And we have to integrate our sensual, emotional, and physical power and bring that into one unified embodiment, okay? We have to speak our truth because Mercury is sitting there in the second house. We have to take action. Mars is there asking us to take action. From emotional integrity, by the way, and not fear or control. And so we do also have to honor the sacred feminine within us, which is the Lilith energy and the moon energy, all sitting there in the second house. And so if you can tell, I feel there's like a sacred activation with the throat chakra energy. The throat really has been needing to be cleared for me the last couple of days. It's so interesting though, only when I jump on to channel the energies for the twins. And so this is where the divine feminine is being called to anchor in her truth, reclaim back her truth and her sensuality connected to her divinity, okay? And then the Pisces stellium in the sixth house is very loud because the sixth house is the house of service. It's the house of healing, emotional, embodied healing, spiritual service. So we've got Neptune, Saturn, and the North Node all sitting in this house of service, naturally ruled by Virgo in the opposite sign now, right? And so this is where all of this spiritual energy can be grounded in something tangible. And so this is the anchoring of the higher mission, of the higher purpose, walking the path, right? We have to walk the path of service, and we have to do it in harmony with our calling, along with a little bit of humility there, right? And so we have to live in our spiritual truth in the physical world every single day. We can't just dream about it. We have to live it, right? And so Saturn is asking us to ground in our spiritual path. And so this requires boundaries, maturity, I want to say consistency. And the North Node is guiding us towards our destined path right now, all of us in the collective. And so unconditional service to love is a big part of the mission of the Twin Flame Collective. And it's not about sacrifice of self. So let's talk about Jupiter in the 10th house, because this is also part of this grand water trine at play. This is the public awakening, I want to say, of divine love. And so there is all of this emotional authenticity being brought into the forefront, asking to be visible publicly. And so for the Twin Flame Collective, this could manifest as several different things. I feel for the masculine, this is them being pushed into a more public role of service and speaking about his spiritual awakening. And for the divine feminine, it's really about stepping into that leadership role and aligning with your service path and sharing all of this divine feminine emotional wisdom. And so together, the twin flames serve as a catalyst for collective awakening, for collective healing. And we are here to embody the template of divine love for others. That is the frequency that we hold, because we go through this heart chakra expansion. And once we're grounded in this heart-centered union of self, we can move from that private healing into the union, into the physical union, and then the public embodiment of this spiritual love to show others what is possible when they do the healing work. And so right now I feel there's a massive energetic recalibration happening, especially after the Libra New Moon. And I just feel with this Neptune energy retrograde back into Pisces, all of these illusions are going to dissolve. And the only thing left is going to be truth. And it does take compassion to get to that truth. And so there's a lot of like remembrance. They keep showing me the Six of Cups. And so Scorpio energy, Scorpio season in itself, is going to demand that emotional depth. And it's asking for commitment, right? And the courage to commit to the twin flame path and union. And so I want to say union energies are highly active right now in the collective. And it doesn't necessarily mean physical reunion, but there is a merging, an energetic merging of the heart and the mind truth is what I'm feeling, okay? And so the divine feminine, I feel, is likely going to be purging a lot of this old energy connected to the emotional cords. And this is reclaiming the sacred voice, like I talked about. The masculine is awakening to this emotional and spiritual responsibility of this connection. And I do feel he's struggling in these energies. But overall, we do have to stay grounded, right? Because a water trine is very intense. A lot of water in the astrology creates a lot of intensity. So we want to stay grounded with the opposite of the water energy. We want earth. We want earth energy to ground all of this water energy in, okay? So grounding rituals are going to serve us all over the coming weeks, I want to say, at least the next 10 days or so. And be ready to release projections. Sometimes we have to feel the energy of rejection because the divine is redirecting us towards our heart healing, right? So when we go into separation and we are rejected by the counterpart, it's a projection that needs to be released because we're not really rejected. We're always divinely directed, okay? And so we can channel this energy, I feel, because it's going to be overly sensitive because Jupiter is going to expand the sensitivity of the water energy. So we can use this and channel it for our spiritual path and service, right? We're not here as martyrs. We're not here as victims. And so when we dissolve the illusions and we embody our truth, then we become one with the vibration of unconditional love, right? And so right now, there's a lot awakening in the subconscious when it comes to this divine truth. And we're going through emotional transformation with the scorpionic energy at play. And so there is healing here. There is a need for faith because this is all part of our divine purpose. And so we're coming into what I want to say is this sacred union. But we have to get to the higher truth, and then we have to create that balance, which was what that Libra New Moon asked us to do. So let's go a little bit further with the cards. If you are new to astrology and curious about your birth chart, I do have a free guide to understanding the basics of your birth chart. Comment free guide down below in the comment section, and I will send you the free guide, okay? I also want to mention, I do have an astrology membership. This is an ongoing monthly membership. You can join anytime. You're never behind, trust me. And you can go back and watch all of the replays from all of the previous membership classes and lessons. If you'd like to really level up on your journey and use astrology to alchemize your path and your purpose, then join the membership. I would love to see you over there. There will be a link below for that as well. But let's dig in with the cards and let's see what the cards have to say today. This really is such a powerfully, emotionally layered reading, and it does sync so beautifully with that 29th degree mark of Neptune retrograding back into Pisces. So let's break it down. The first card out today is the community card, and because it was followed with the victory reversed, walking away reversed, what I really feel here is like a false comfort zone. I really feel that. I feel this resonates so deeply with that Libra full moon afterglow that I talked about, okay? And so there is this major theme here of asking ourselves, are these contracts real? Are they based on illusion? Are they based on obligation? Are they based on fear? And so this community card, I feel, reveals how the divine masculine or the collective masculine have been surrounding themselves with a familiar but spiritually misaligned connection or connections. And it could be business, it could be family, it could be friendship circles, anything that at one point maybe offered them support, but now is draining and really limiting their authenticity. And so I feel astrologically, this is probably connected to the Scorpio stellium in the second house, which is urging that deep reevaluation of values and self-worth. It is like this cosmic audit. And so all of these false communities are dissolving to make way for true divine connection. And so kindred spirits, soul tribes, those who mirror your higher vibration, the masculine sense of belonging, I feel, really is being stripped from that superficiality so he can kind of rediscover that soul level commitment, because we go right into the victory reversed. And so this is a delay of ego-based success. So once again, retrograde, reverse, right? So I feel there's a very humbling energy here that is dismantling all of the illusions of worldly success and control. And so in reversed, I feel the masculine's pursuit of validation, wealth, or recognition has kind of hit this dead end. And so what maybe once looked like success for the masculine is feeling very hollow. There's a collapse of illusion, especially illusion around control. And I do feel this overwhelming sense of grief and confusion attached to this card. And I do feel this is linked to Mars, Mercury, and Lilith in Scorpio. That's the demanding energy of radical honesty, right? And so is the masculine still fighting for something that just isn't feeding his soul? Because I do feel a big masculine energy of loss as the feminine steps into liberation. And so there's a redirection here. I feel it does mirror like a Two of Wands in reversed energy. And so I feel the universe is really protecting this sacred union. And the masculine can't come forward until he is authentically aligned. Then we get the walking away card in reverse. So a couple of messages. I feel an Ace of Wands in reversed. It's almost this energy of fear of letting go, fear of walking away from that false sense of community, and the surrender that the masculine has resisted towards the new beginning, towards the new passionate beginning here. And so there's a karmic loop where I think maybe the masculine wants to leave a certain situation behind, but he fears losing all of the structure that he built. Oh yeah, he does. Look at that, financial constraints. I do feel he's dealing with somebody that I feel is all about the money. Even though this connection is over for the masculine, there's fear of leaving it behind because of all of the security tied to it. And so I do feel there's a clash with the masculine's spiritual world and his material stability. He feels trapped. He feels trapped by finances, right? He feels trapped by finances, right? With the woman holding a coin. And so we've got two people here holding on for a false sense of financial security in a relationship. And this connection is over. They're not even in a caring connection anymore. I think there's a karmic soul contract here where two people are struggling, walking away because of the false sense of security. And there's a clinging energy here without a doubt. There's such a clinging energy to something that really isn't secure, but it's creating a false structure. And I think that's kind of crumbling. And so faith and trust is what's going to be required here. So let's talk about the tarot spread because I do feel there's completion, there's emotional rebirth, There's vulnerability. There's healing the past regret, releasing regret here. And I just feel this strong energy of communication and truth coming forward, okay? So we start with the World card. Once again, a big reflection of the Neptune retrograde at 29 degrees Pisces, completion, mastery, closing of the karmic cycle, the masculine kind of standing at that threshold, ready to spiritually graduate. And there is this brand new emotional beginning here. That's exactly what this is. There's a lot of inner child healing. We see the angels behind the inner child here, right, is how I read that. And it does require compassion. There's a reflection, too, of this spiritual renewal. But we have to kind of go through the Piscean waters, right? And this is where the spiritual armor comes down with the Seven of Wands in reversed. So the Scorpio influence is dropping all of the emotional defenses. There's like a collapse here. It could be a physical collapse, an emotional collapse, but vulnerability is very loud in this card today. And so this top row, really, I feel like all of the water, right? Water, 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 is really aligned with that grand water trine. And so there's emotional surrender here. And then true love can kind of flow again, but we have to expand the heart and we have to release the ego control, right? So the middle row, the Six of Cups came out in reversed yesterday. And so it's upright today. So there is nostalgia, there's inner child, there's karmic memory surfacing under the Neptunian retrograde influence back into Pisces. It's always going to bring back the past for closure, right? When we go back into another sign. And then we go right to this Five of Cups, which is the energy of healing the past disappointments and forgiveness before we can actually move forward, right? And so classic Pisces redemption energy sitting here is what I feel. And then the masculine, I feel, does want to reemerge emotionally. He's being guided to make a call, to bring forward an apology, to bring emotional healing into this connection. He's being guided to take heart-centered action, to rediscover his purpose through compassion, right? And so I do feel it's possible for a new emotional experience here. But the masculine is going to have to get really, really honest, because we still have this Ace of Swords coming out in reverse, which is miscommunication, blocked communication, avoidance, the masculine shadow, right? Where he feels staying silent or blocking or not communication, he is preserving himself. It's self-protection, right? But avoidance really isn't self-protection, because what we avoid keeps persisting until we actually address it. And so I do feel there is a vision forming here under these energies today, but there's delays because of fear. And that aligns with the Neptune's invitation, I want to say, to trust in divine timing, because the masculine is going to finally speak. And when he does finally speak, I feel it's going to be from a place of clarity and truth. And he's going to purify his mind, and he's going to be in this state of mental and emotional maturity, but he's going to have to confront his fears, right? He's going to have to confront what he's kind of put on ice. And I do feel communication breakthroughs are possible, especially throughout Scorpio season and through Neptune dissolving all of those illusions. But let's talk about the bottom of the deck, because right now I feel all of this is kind of divinely guided. There is a divine lesson here. There is a spiritual contract here that is written between the counterparts. And it is about learning. It is about a lifelong learning lesson, about traditions, about belonging within a community. And with the Two of Wands coming out in reverse, there's this indecision, there's this karmic detour. And I think there's fear of loss of all of this material attachment, right? And so Jupiter and Cancer energy, I feel, is allowing us to redefine what success really means, right? And I feel the masculine is being called to find his strength and his courage, to follow his heart, even if his mind is resisting, right? Oh, because look at this. There is a sacred reunion here with the Two of Cups. There's a physical and energetic reunion, but the old structures have to fall away. And so we can't chase external validation. It has to be built on divine truth. And I do feel there is some type of an illumination about that in the energies today. Let's talk about the last two cards. We got the Phoenix card in reversed, and how fitting It is a 29 card, and it does speak of resurrection, surrender to change. So I feel resistance to the transformation. I really do. There's fear of loss. There's clinging to the ashes of the old life going on here. But because the card is number 29, there's like a perfection energy here. The fire of Scorpio season, even though Scorpio is a water sign, it's the Phoenix energy. Scorpio energy is the Phoenix. So the fire of Scorpio season will inevitably transmute everything false into truth. And so the masculine is really going to have to face his fear of that karmic ending. And the feminine needs to trust in the masculine's resurrection cycle, because there is a major chapter closing. And I have to say, I sold my old car to the junkyard today as I'm recording this. I went to the scrapyard and I purchased a new car. I've not purchased a new car. I had a car payment, oh gosh, in like 6 or 7 years, I think, closing out a 7-year cycle. And my odometer reading was 179,813. And when you add all those numbers together, it added up to 29. And so an old cycle closed and a new cycle is beginning. I get my new car in a couple of days. So I thought that was interesting. 29 is a big, loud message, right? And so we have to let the old die away. We have to let one chapter close for divine alignment to unfold into the new chapter. And so I feel the message for the feminine, you are the mirror to the Scorpio death archetype energy happening with the Phoenix card in the masculine. So you, divine feminine, with the Swan Queen, you are being guided into stillness, into slowing down, into your intuition, into the state of self-reflection. Just embody the grace in the face of the masculine's transformation, right? Because your psychic perceptions are likely very heightened right now. You're probably receiving visions through dreams. I know lots coming through in dreams for many of the feminines. And that's your inner guidance right now. So there's a lot of divine whispers coming towards you from within. And so stop chasing any external reflection, because you are the mirror, divine feminine. You are the mirror. And so the masculine will awaken as you step into stillness, as you ground in self-sovereignty. And look at that, the cosmos. And so there is a new beginning here. There is a divinely guided new beginning here. So perhaps by the next full moon, it's a 41 card, which is a reflection of the Ace of Cups. So I just feel today there's something getting stripped away out of the collective, connected to something false within a group of friends or family or community. So love in its purest vibration can survive on the other side, right? And so we both have to walk the path of inner union first, right? And it requires emotional vulnerability. It requires forgiveness. It requires faith. So let whatever illusions dissolve, and go through the transformative fire, because the twin flame connection, it is the crucible for the collective rebirth, okay? And so that's what I got for a message today. If you would like to go further with me with a personal reading, then please check out the webpage link below. Also, feel free to go check out the Astrology membership. It's a great place to grow for a fraction of the cost of my one-on-one astrology mentorship, and it's in a group setting. It's just a fun place to come together and learn and grow. So go check it out. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you all again tomorrow.